Are you ready?
Alright. So most of y'all people that know me, peers, I'm not from here. I'm from Mexico. I came here when I was about 6 years old. I didn't really have a choice to come here. My parents were having financial problems. We couldn't pay the house. We couldn't buy food. There was one time that my parents barely had any money. So like my parents finally came to the conclusion that hey, it's time to move. I really didn't know we were gonna move. At my first impression, it was a big bus. I remember, and my family was right there, and my dad was just like say goodbye to them. Leaving. And I thought we were just going like we used to go to trips like to where my grandma used to live in Zacatecas. We used to go like that, but I thought it was like that. But it turns out that we moved far away, and like I remember, my dad was like, if they ask you anything in the border, tell them you're going to a party. It's like, cause I don't want them to have any problems. So I remember this big white guy, and I was like this tiny. He's like, where you headed? I'm like, we're going to a party. He's like, okay, pass along. And I was like, okay. And my dad was like. So we passed, and we used to live with my mom's friend. She had an apartment, and there was also another family living there. So we were living in the living room, and I remember I always used to get in trouble because I used to go to bed, and like there was no mattress, so it was a carpet. So like they would get mad. So and then there was this other girl that lived there, and like she was about my age, and she was making fun of me, and like every time that I would wet the bed, she would hit me in the arm. I don't know what was her problem. I don't know. So that kind of annoyed me. My parents started working at fast food restaurants, and my dad like finally made enough money, and we got our own apartment. See, the problem that I had with this is that 2 years went by, and I still didn't see my family, and I used to see them like every single day when I was in Mexico, and that kind of got to a point that I wanted to go back. And when you have that moment, it's like, who's here to help me out instead of my brother and my family? And that kind of got to a point because I missed out on a lot. It was like I went like 8 years without seeing my family. I missed deaths, I missed birthdays, I missed births, I missed everything. It's like I barely even knew my family, like anybody. I only knew that like the main ones that like my mom's sisters. And that kind of got me because like they were growing up together, all of them were growing up together, and me and my brother were just like left alone. Like we had nobody to grow up with. And me and Gustavo just taught each other everything. Like in school, I remember the first day that we got here. Here's the funny part. We got here at 5 in the morning on the bus. By 7 in the morning, I was already enrolled in school. Why? Because my dad said it's better to go early than to like wait. So that kind of caught me off because I thought we were gonna wait. And I remember the first day at school, I was crying my eyes out. I was just crying because like I didn't want to be there. I didn't know anybody. The only reason I stayed, like I went in there because I saw this nice looking girl right there, and she was coloring, and I was like, oh, okay. So the teacher was like, you can go sit with her. I was like, okay. And then like I was coloring, I was like, what's your name? And she was like, oh, my name is Babel. And I was like, I kind of had to think for this chick, and I was like 6 years old, and I was like, it's like, oh, I like your drawing. It's like, damn right, you like my drawing. So like this kind of like I stayed this was at McVie Elementary. I stayed there for like 4 years, so I moved to Maynard. At this moment, my parents were still working. They were working hard, and like they got a house. I mean, it was a miracle because we didn't have papers except my mom. So the point of the story is that I grew up alone. I had a little brother. I felt out of place, out of this world, like when you have nobody to talk to except your people around you. And when you don't have family, it's kind of really like, you don't know what's going on with their lives. I barely know my cousins now. I mean, I got my papers, I went to visit them. I remember the first time that we got to visit them, and like they were surprised, because we surprised them, it was like 3 in the morning. And my grandparents started crying and everybody, and I only spent like 2 days, so I couldn't see everybody. But as soon as I got there, it's like, who are you? Like, who are you as a person? So I didn't know anybody. I still have a lot of family I have not met yet. Like, I go to the main ones because Mexico is a really bad place now. So my parents don't really like going. Basically, I felt I had no family who I lived with. And basically I learned that I don't need them because they're bad people. I have cousins in the cartel killing people, doing drugs. And like I learned that I don't want to be with them. And I learned that being here, learning from moving to somewhere else, that family isn't only blood, it's love and friendship. And I have friends that love me like family, and I treat them like family, and they treat me like family. And that's all I ever wanted, is to have family. And I created a family here that is not even where I'm from, but they understand me for who I am. So.